Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Anda sedang menyaksikan Niaga Awani bersama saya Rozman, dan sempena musim haji ini Niaga Awani tidak ketinggalan untuk membawakan anda perkembangan terkini rangkuman berita niaga, ekonomi termasuk juga dengan pasaran untuk anda fahami bagaimanakah lanskap ekonomi ketika ini dan apakah yang akan menjadi trend dalam pasaran. Dan dalam segmen jam ini untuk kita beri tumpuan kepada dua perkara utama yang sedang berlaku di peringkat tempatan hinggalah ke antarabangsa, di mana Result Persekutuan Amerika Syarikat, The Fed telah mengekalkan kadar faedah antara 5.25% hingga 5.5% sekaligus menafikan langkah pemotongan kepada kadar sedia ada. Dan pengerusi Fed Jerome Powell berindikasi bahawa akan ada satu pemotongan kadar selewat-lewatnya akan berlaku pada bulan Disember ini. Dan baru-baru ini kalau kita lihat juga di peringkat domestik, iaitu kerajaan telah melaksanakan pengapungan subsidi diesel, di mana semua harga diesel di semua runcit di Semenanjung Malaysia telah ditetapkan kepada RM3.35 untuk setiap liter. Dan apa yang telah dikatakan Menteri Kewangan II iaitu Amir Hamzah juga mengatakan bahawa ketika ini kerajaan akan beri fokus kepada pengapungan subsidi diesel, dan selepas itu barulah mereka akan memberi tumpuan kepada rasionalisasi subsidi RON 95. Dan untuk pentingnya untuk kita lihat pada jam ini, mengambil kira kedua-dua situasi semasa ini, kita nak melihat kepada peluang penambahbaikan segera termasuk juga dengan downside risk yang perlu diberi penekanan ketika ini dan apakah langkah proaktif yang diperlukan selepas ini. Dan bersedia untuk mengulas lebih lanjut mengenai perkara ini adalah Ketua Ekonomi Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad merupakan Dr. Muhammad Afzal Nizam Abdul Rashid. Saya nak ucapkan terima kasih Dr. kerana sudi meluangkan masa bersama kami. Pertama sekali, mungkin Dr. boleh kongsikan mengambil kira keadaan ekonomi semasa ketika ini di peringkat tempatan domestik dan juga antarabangsa. Bagaimana situasi ini mencerminkan keadaan ataupun realiti sebenar ekonomi? Silakan Doktor.
Okey, berkenaan dengan keputusan Fed untuk mengekalkan kadar faedah, kemudian terbaru mereka juga telah orang kata tu merombak balik jangkaan ataupun unjuran ekonomi, terutamanya jangkaan kepada pemotongan kadar faedah, yang mana pada mesyuarat yang minggu lalu mereka telah pun meletakkan bahawa pemotongan itu mungkin berlaku hanya sekali sahaja. Kalau sebelum ini mereka menjangkakan ini bakal berlaku dalam sekitar 3 kali, maka ini telah pun diturunkan atas dasar kedudukan ekonomi Amerika Syarikat masih berada dalam keadaan baik, dan yang paling penting dalam penilaian mereka adalah dari sudut inflasi, yang mana mereka masih lagi dikatakan tidak berpuas hati dengan prestasi inflasi, yang mana ia masih lagi kekal berada di paras yang melebihi sasaran mereka iaitu 2%. Terbaru, angka inflasi di Amerika Syarikat mencecah paras 3.3%. Jadi masih lagi dalam jajaran yang tinggi. Itu merupakan mengapa mereka mengambil keputusan demikian. Kemudian, apakah impak kepada ekonomi global? Bagi saya, impak utamanya adalah pertama dari segi pergerakan mata wang asing lah, yang mana banyak pergerakan mata wang asing ini ditumpukan kepada keputusan Fed. Kita dah lihat sebenarnya beberapa bank pusat utama dunia telah pun memula ataupun mengorak langkah untuk menurunkan kadar faedah mereka. Seperti ECB ataupun European Central Bank telah pun menurunkan kadar faedah mereka sebanyak 25 ke asas. Bank of Canada juga membuat perkara yang sama, Swiss National Bank, Rix Bank. Jadi banyak orang kata itu bank pusat utama yang telah pun memulakan langkah untuk menurunkan kadar faedah. Cuma Fed saja yang masih berada di orang kata itu ketinggalan lah dalam perlumbaan untuk mengurangkan kadar faedah ini. Jadi impak ni adalah permintaan kepada dolar Amerika Syarikat yang dilihat begitu berada dalam keadaan yang menarik sekali lah, kerana kadar faedah mereka ni masih lagi berada dalam keadaan yang tinggi. Jadi itu merupakan kesan utama kadar faedahnya itu. Jadi ringgit, kemudian kalau dah ringgit sudah pasti kesan kepada import, dan pengakhiran sekali adalah bagaimana ia akan menterjemahkan dari sudut kenaikan harga barang lah, contohnya barang-barang yang diimport daripada luar.
Melihat apa yang telah diperkatakan oleh pengerusi The Fed Jerome Powell yang akan dikatakan bahawa akan berlakunya sekurang-kurangnya satu pemotongan kadar yang akan berlaku selewat-lewatnya Disember. Jadi bagaimanakah potensi pemotongan kadar faedah oleh The Fed ini akan mempengaruhi atau memberi impak kepada pertumbuhan ekonomi selepas ini?
Okey, dia sifat dasar monetary ni dia sangat dynamic. Maksudnya kalau tahun lalu kita dah melihat fasa kenaikan kadar faedah, kemudian dia berhenti, dan perkara itu akan bergantung kepada data-data ekonomi, dan sasaran 2% itu menjadi suatu paksi untuk menyatakan bahawa mereka ini telah pun mencapai suatu bentuk kejayaan dalam mentadbir dasar monetary. Jadi pada mereka menjalankan dasar tersebut, sudah pasti akan ada suatu bentuk trade off, tindak balas dari segi ekonominya lah. Jadi kalau dalam hal ni, pertumbuhan ekonomi lah yang merupakan suatu perkara yang akan memberi kesan hasil daripada dasar yang dilaksanakan. Mereka akan memerhatikan prospek pekerjaan, prospek kenaikan gaji, prospek perniagaan ataupun sektor utama dalam ekonomi mereka. Jadi itu merupakan justifikasi untuk mereka mengubah keputusan mereka. Buat masa saya melihat dari segi kerana mereka ataupun producer ni setiap beberapa bulan dia akan melakukan laporan yang dipanggil sebagai beach book. Beach book ni merupakan suatu bentuk laporan berkenaan dengan bancian terhadap ekonomi di dalam 12 daerah di Amerika Syarikat lah, seperti daerah ataupun kawasan seperti di New York, Minneapolis, Philadelphia. Jadi ada 12. Jadi pihak Federal Reserve akan membuat pemantauan. Jadi laporan terkini yang saya perhatikan, banyak orang kata tu bancian yang mereka ataupun respon terhadap bancian mereka adalah menyatakan ekonomi itu telah mula menunjukkan tanda-tanda yang memperlahan. Jadi saya kira perkara ini akan lebih menular pada akan datang kerana kadar faedah mereka masih tinggi. Jadi kalau katalah hasil ataupun kesan kadar faedah yang tinggi kepada ekonomi mula merencatkan pertumbuhan ekonomi mereka, maka mereka akan mengubah keputusan tersebut. Jadi itu merupakan perkara yang akan dipantau, bukan saja pihak Fed, malah pasaran, dan bagaimana kesihatan ataupun kedudukan ekonomi Amerika Syarikat ini akan beri kesan pada peringkat global, dan Malaysia sebagai sebuah negara yang kecil tapi sangat terbuka juga akan terkesan akibat daripada turun naiknya ekonomi utama dunia ini.
Sudah tentu Doktor, apabila kita melihat kepada kadar pemotongan kadar faedah ini dilihat sebagai indikator ataupun langkah yang positif kepada ekonomi rakyat. Namun kalau kita nak lihat sekiranya situasi pemotongan kadar faedah ini dijangka tidak mencapai sasaran untuk merangsang lagi ekonomi. Jadi apakah langkah ataupun kita boleh cakap penambahbaikan yang boleh dilakukan oleh setiap institusi kewangan untuk menghadapi cabaran ini?
Baik, hakikatnya sebenarnya setiap negara tu mempunyai dasarnya tersendiri, dan termasuklah juga dasar monetary kan. Dan tadi di awal perbincangan kita saya telah pun sebut beberapa negara yang telah pun memulakan pemotongan kadar faedah. Jadi maksudnya setiap negara itu sangat berdikari dalam menentukan dasarnya, dan saya kira konteks itu juga termasuk dalam negara kita juga. Maksudnya kalau dalam kes kita ni, Malaysia ni, OPR berada pada paras 3%. Kalau yang katakan ekonomi disebabkan kadar faedah yang tinggi ni memberi kesan pada ekonomi negara kita dan pertumbuhan mula memperlahan, jadi saya tidak nampak kenapa bank negara juga boleh mengambil satu langkah yang orang kata tu untuk mengurangkan kadar OPR-nya pula. Kalau terdapat orang kata ancaman ekonomi yang boleh menyebabkan pertumbuhan tu menjadi lebih perlahan. Jadi dia sangat orang kata tu independent sebenarnya bagi setiap negara dalam mentadbir dasar monetary. Cuma US ni sebagai trendsetter lah yang saya nampak.
Dan kita teruskan dengan isu iaitu pengapungan subsidi diesel. Dilihat kita faham iaitu hasrat kerajaan adalah untuk mengurangkan tekanan ataupun bebanan kewangan ekonomi negara. Dan kalau kita lihat daripada langkah rasionalisasi subsidi, daripada langkah pertama daripada tarif elektrik, harga apungan ayam, telur, dan kini kita boleh lihat ia telah dilaksanakan dalam subsidi diesel. Jadi bagaimana pelaksanaan rasionalisasi subsidi diesel ini mampu meningkatkan lagi pengurusan fiskal negara?
Baik, rasionalisasi subsidi ataupun konsolidasi fiskal ataupun reformasi fiskal ni sebenarnya dia bertujuan untuk memperbetulkan balik bagaimana kerajaan mencorak dari segi hasil dan perbelanjaan. Dan dalam kes sekarang ni kita berbincang tentang subsidi, bermaksud kerajaan sedang melihat semula perbelanjaan mereka. Seboleh-bolehnya kerajaan mahu berbelanja ke arah yang akan memberikan value for money lah, maksudnya akan meningkatkan produktif negara dan akhirnya akan memperkembangkan lagi ekonomi negara tersebut. Namun situasi itu telah pun berlaku, maksudnya dulu kita bagi subsidi, sekarang kita kena kurangkan kerana kerajaan mempunyai kekangan keuangan lah, dan kalau perkara itu dibiarkan maka kerajaan mempunyai orang kata tu keupayaan yang kurang untuk menyokong pertumbuhan ekonomi negara. Dan yang paling penting sekali juga, yang penting juga yang saya nampak, apabila kerajaan orang kata tu mula berdisiplin dalam perbelanjaan mereka, maka dia akan mewujudkan ataupun memberi satu signal kepada pasaran keuangan bahawa kerajaan sebenarnya sedang dalam usaha untuk mengukuhkan kedudukan keuangan mereka. Dan pemegang taruh yang lain seperti agensi penarafan kredit ataupun kita panggil dia credit rating agency juga akan memberi satu penilaian yang positif terhadap usaha ini. Jadi bila satu penilaian yang positif, maka sekurang-kurangnya penarafan kerajaan yang sedia ada, iaitu sekitar A- bagi S&P, A3 bagi Moody's dan juga BBB+ bagi Fitch akan dikekalkan. Jadi bila perkara itu berlaku, maka dia akan mewujudkan satu keyakinan di kalangan para peserta pasaran modal. Jadi itu akan, orang kata tu, mungkin menggalakkan kemasukan modal asing dan sekaligus akan mewujudkan suatu bentuk permintaan terhadap nilai ringgit kita. Jadi itu juga suatu kesan kenapa ataupun tujuan kenapa rasionalisasi subsidi ni ataupun pengukuhan fiskal ni dilaksanakan, kerana dia ada banyak sasaran-sasaran yang akan terkena akibat ataupun memberi kesan kepada perkara-perkara yang lain lah.
Dan doktor, kita tahu setiap rasionalisasi subsidi yang ingin dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan ini adalah bertujuan untuk membantu dan mengukuhkan lagi asas ekonomi ini. Dan kita tahu, mungkin doktor boleh bantu kami faham, kita tahu daripada rasionalisasi subsidi ini akan memberi kesan terhadap inflasi. Jadi bagaimana dengan harga diesel? Sekiranya kekal pada kadar yang kita boleh cakap kadar tetap sementara, tetapi kalau harga diesel di peringkat global naik turun yang kita boleh cakap yang besar, bagaimana doktor melihat perkara ini akan dipengaruhi?
Okey, kalau katakanlah subsidi kita kekal rendah dan harga di luar tinggi, isu utama yang sering disebut adalah permasalahan dari segi penyeludupan. Jadi itu membuka ruang bagi peniaga yang tidak bertanggungjawabnya untuk mengambil kesempatan ataupun menanggut di ayam keruh. Jadi perkara itu, apabila subsidi itu dikurangkan, maka harga dinaikkan, maka tiada insentif lagi ataupun peluang untuk mereka ini untuk membuat satu keuntungan di atas angin saja. Itu yang pertamalah. Kedua, dari segi impact rasionalisasi subsidi ini, impact kepada kenaikan harga barang, itu merupakan suatu bentuk trade off ataupun timbal balik kepada dasar ataupun perubahan dasar yang dilaksanakan. Itu saya kira satu perkara yang mungkin sukar untuk kita elakkan, tapi kita perlu laksanakannya. Dan di sini pertama yang saya nampak adalah dari segi penguatkuasaan undang-undang sedia adalah kerana kerajaan walaupun dah membuat pelarasan kepada subsidi, tapi bagi yang layak menerimanya masih menerima subsidi. Jadi sepatutnya peniaga-peniaga yang menerima subsidi ini secara teorinya tidaklah lagi menaikkan, tidak boleh, bukan tak boleh, sepatutnya tidaklah ada insentif untuk naikkan harga barang. Tapi kita tak tahu, itu mungkin juga berlaku kerana bagi saya maklumat antara pembeli dan penjual. pembeli tak ada maklumat yang lengkap. Kita tak tahu struktur kos dia macam mana. Jadi kalau kata penjual tu kata, oh saya kena naikkan harga barang kerana harga diesel dah naik. Jadi kita sebagai pembeli hanya menerima saja. Dan di sini memerlukan pihak ketiga iaitu kerajaan lah untuk memantau dan mengambil tindakan undang-undang kepada mereka yang membuat kesalahan ini berdasarkan undang-undang yang ada lah. Itu yang saya rasa yang perlu dilaksanakan oleh kerajaan kerana sifat untuk mengambil kesempatan ni satu perkara yang lumrah sebenarnya. Jadi kita sebagai pembeli terima je, tapi penjual ada insentif nak naikkan harga. Jadi pihak yang akan memainkan peranan tengah-tengah tadi tu adalah kerajaan, iaitu melalui pelaksanaan penguatkuasaan undang-undang yang sedia ada.
Jadi apakah antara downside risk yang perlu diberi perhatian ketika ini mengambil kira apa yang sedang berlaku di peringkat tempatan domestik dan juga antarabangsa, dan bagaimana untuk kita laksanakan pengurusan risiko yang efektif dengan dasar yang diada dalam memainkan peranan mereka untuk memacu lagi pertumbuhan ekonomi negara. Bagaimana, Doktor?
Kalau nak bercakap tentang downside risk, saya nampak banyak puncanya daripada luar. Pertama, tak lain tak bukan kalau berlaku kemelesetan ekonomi, terutamanya di Amerika Syarikat. Kerana Amerika Syarikat ini sebuah negara yang besar, jadi kalau dia meleset, maka dia akan beri kesan kepada seluruh dunia. Dan negara Malaysia, seperti sebutkan tadi, sangat terbuka, meskipun kecil, akan mendapat kesannya. Kerana kadar faedah ni, apabila dia mencapai satu tahap yang begitu tinggi, dia ada kemungkinan untuk menyebabkan ekonomi itu terencat ataupun mula meleset lah. Itu merupakan suatu risiko bagi yang saya nampak bagi negara di Amerika Syarikat lah. Itu yang pertama. Kedua ialah isu berkenaan situasi geopolitik, yang mana yang saya nampak isu geopolitik ni dia boleh bagi kesan kepada rantai, menyebabkan kenaikan kos dari segi kos pengangkutan, kos barangan dan sebagainya. Jadi faktor yang boleh menyebabkan downside itu saya nampak banyak yang berlaku di luar daripada negara Malaysia lah. Dalaman saya nak tak, dalaman mungkin dari segi perubahan dasar lah. Kalau dasar itu dilaksanakan secara perubahan yang sedrastik, itu mungkin juga boleh menyebabkan suatu kejutan. Tapi nampak gaya kerajaan orang tu mengambil cakna tentang keperluan rakyat, jadi diadakan subsidi yang bersasar ni untuk membantu. Jadi saya rasa dari segi downside risk lebih tertumpu kepada sektor luaran sebenarnya.
Dan mengambil kira konteks ekonomi semasa dengan apa yang kita telah bincangkan, Doktor, daripada awal perbincangan, bagaimana Doktor melihat ataupun apakah unjuran dan harapan Doktor terhadap prestasi keseluruhan ekonomi pada tahun ini dan dalam tempoh terdekat juga, dan mengambil kira konteks ekonomi semasa juga, adakah kita akan terus mencapai prestasi yang memberangsangkan, perlahan ataupun stagnan?
Okey, memang kalau nak bercakap pasal cabaran memang akan banyak dan benda tu tak akan berakhir. Tapi yang pasti kita perlu membuat satu keputusan yang betul dan ianya perlu dilaksanakan. Jadi dengan adanya pelaksanaan keputusan yang betul, dia akan meningkatkan kredibiliti dan keyakinan, dan itu akan menggalakkan lagi pertumbuhan ekonomi negara lah. Dan kita pun dah lihat contoh, kita dapat lihat pada suku pertama pihak KWSP telah mencatat satu kenaikan yang tinggi dari segi pendapatan mereka. Jadi ini juga menandakan sekiranya pasaran ekonomi global akan terus maju, maka EU akan mendapat manfaat daripada situasi ini. Jadi apa yang saya boleh katakan kat sini adalah cabaran tu sentiasa ada, cuma dari segi bagaimana kita perlu memahami setiap maklumat yang kita terima. Jadi di sini saya nampak sekali lagi komunikasi kepada rakyat, terutamanya berkenaan dasar-dasar yang agak sukar untuk diterima, perlu diperhebatkan supaya rakyat jelas tentang hala tuju negara dan memahami kenapa sesuatu perubahan dasar itu rasionalnya dilaksanakan. Jadi itu yang saya nampak.
Baik, sekali lagi saya nak ucapkan terima kasih kepada Dr. Muhammad Azwanizam Abdul Rashid, merupakan Ketua Ekonomi Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad, kerana bantu kami faham antara dua perkara utama yang sedang berlaku di peringkat tempatan domestik dan juga antarabangsa. Antaranya adalah daripada segi pengampungan subsidi diesel dan juga iaitu keputusan FOMC yang telah mengekalkan kadar faedahnya antara 5.25% hinggalah 5%, sekaligus menafikan iaitu langkah pemotongan kadar sedia ada yang dijangka maka akan berlaku selewat-lewatnya Disember ini. Dan sudah tentu pentingnya untuk kita melakukan persediaan dalam menghadapi ketidaktentuan ekonomi bergerak ke hadapan dan memerlukan setiap kerjasama pihak berkepentingan dalam memastikan pertumbuhan ekonomi momentumnya terus dapat dilaksanakan dengan baik sekali. Sekali lagi saya nak ucapkan terima kasih dan banyak lagi perkembangan ataupun laporan yang akan kami bawakan. Teruskan bersama kami di Niaga AWANI di mana rakan tugas Nabilah Khaleeda akan bawakan perkembangan seterusnya selepas ini.
Kita berbenda jaga kita.
Korang ni semua sama je, keras kepala macam Along. Korang nak aku mati, hadap orang seorang.
Kalau ada apa-apa yang berlaku, siapa nak jaga adik-adik aku? Siapa?
Maafkan Along, Abang.
Aku harap satu hari nanti engkau ada ruang dalam hati kau untuk maafkan aku. Itu je aku minta.
Sampai ruang dalam hati aku pun nak jajah kan.
15 minit setiap hari bersama kami
dalam Khabar Haji 2024.
Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la syarika lak labbaik.
Bermula 10 hingga 19 Jun.
Pastikan anda mengikuti kami di
Astro AWANI
dan Astro Oasis.
Ibadah Haji Anugerah Terindah.
Alright, thank you for tuning in on Niaga AWANI, and we're going to move on with another segment which we're going to talk about a laundry or laundry industry, which is an interesting topic that we rarely bring or talked about, especially on Niaga AWANI, where if we talk about self-service laundries, which is not something new in Malaysia, and perhaps there's probably one not too far from you right now. And according to market research, the laundry industry is poised for a rapid expansion. And if I could say a little statistics here, the home and laundry care market in Malaysia is expected to earn $1.14 billion for this year alone, 2024. So to speak further on this, we have the right authority joining me in the studio right now this morning, which is the co-founder and executive director of Dobi Queen herself, Nini Tan, the person who's responsible in making any loads lighter, which can be any loads, it's a laundry or perhaps the household chores.
Yeah.
So perhaps we could start with the first one. I read online that you worked in a digital marketing before venturing into business. So
Yes.
what was the transition like and what inspired you?
Right. What inspired me to go into self-service laundry would be, I was a laundry user when I started working. And after work, I go back home, there will be some follow-up work to do, just like many of us. And then after that, there will be household work, whether it's cleaning up, and one of the heavy one is laundry. So that is where I felt tired. And usually I'm not really in the mood to connect with anyone, any loved one at home, or do any activities that's for myself. So that is when I also started using self-service laundry. And I found that the quality can be better. So that's where we improve. I'll talk more a bit about that later on. And why the digital marketing to retail is, I realize I am someone who is more energized when I am dealing more with people than I would say data or computers. With digital marketing is very, you look at the screen more. So I am maybe more simple in the sense I like to interact with people. So that is where we went into, and I saw a gap that we can improve laundry. So back then I had to bring my own detergents, softener, and I felt that laundry itself is already heavy, even just for one person. Correct. And if I'm going to carry additional bottles, and after that dirty my hands and to clean my hands, and I always have to run back to the laundry to move the wet clothes to the dryer, I find that all these little pain points can be better addressed. So in Dobi Queen, what we do is we offer warm water, we offer branded highest quality detergent and branded softener that has perfume. And all our clothes, after the drying, don't need to iron. So tak payah gosok.
Oh,
Memang siap.
amazing.
You just gantung je.
Oh.
Yeah, so that helps with a lot. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us have experience of ironing and then peluh-peluh semua after that. Yeah.
And when we talk about laundry industry, it's just not you bringing the clothes to the outlets and basuh and you keringkan. It's not just that. We have to look at the other aspect of it, which relates to the household chores. That includes the busyness of the parents or the household itself. So maybe do you have a little statistics from your research that you can share to the audience?
In fact, there is a statistics research done by Khazanah that showed ladies spend 63.5% more time of their own time doing unpaid housework. So that means, imagine this, and I think many of us are doing that. We work, we have family members, we come back from work, and sometimes you got a bit of work to follow up, and then after that you have to do sweeping the floor, cleaning the floor, or even before you get back home, go to a supermarket to start by, to get your groceries, and then you start thinking, okay, what am I going to make? You go to the kitchen, start preparing, and while it's cooking, you're going to deal with the clothes. So all this, what will happen at the end is the working adult is just tired. So when they're tired, nobody would really want to spend time, hey, let's sembang, let's hang out, let's connect, let's talk. Even when your children come to you, go like, pergi main sendiri, main sorang-sorang. Okay, I'm tired. So in the long run, that is not a must, but it can affect relationships at home. Yeah. So one of the vision of Dobi Queen is to remove and reduce burden so that families can connect better, or even just taking back time to connect with yourself, to do some self-learning, do your hobbies. Yeah.
And actually that's important to note as well in terms of relationship, how this laundry industry or laundry can actually help you with your relationship with your family and loved ones. And that's amazing. But however, it's important to note as well that when you do laundry, it includes cost as well. But how do you integrate, how do you think about the B40 communities? Like they want to spend their time with quality times with the family, but at the same time to do laundry that includes cost as well. So how do you manage affordable services to them?
Right. So as of now, I would say we are still in a very affordable price range. You're talking about let's say a week's clothes for 2 people, let's just take a couple, it would be between like 15 ringgit including dry. So if it's for two adults and 2 children, maybe about 20-ish per week. So that is still in the affordable range. Yeah. So that's how we still maintain we can serve the mass effectively. And we also cut down time, so they don't need to iron. There's already a lot of time that they can take the time to put in their career. They can take the time to do self-learning that then translates to possibly higher package in terms of their income in the future. Because you need to invest in yourself in terms of learning.
Let's go back to the business or the whole industry. We are moving towards a sustainable world globally right now. The movement is to work closely towards sustainability. For Dobi Queen itself, what's your strategy in bringing this industry or laundry aspects towards a more greener world?
So there are a few things that we have been doing from the beginning. First is the recyclable bag. We have a big recyclable bag because we noticed that there are some of our users that come with the big plastic hitam, plastic sampah hitam. So when they bring, and sometimes it tears, so they just throw it away and then we give them another plastic. So the more sustainable way, more environmental friendly way would be we made this big bag, yellow bag, for those of you who have it. It's about this high, this size and like this width. And they will use that repeatedly. And sometimes I actually notice our users, somebody koyak, they still use, right? So that is one. The other one, we install motion sensor fans. Because, we have motion sensor fans. So sometimes customer will come in and start looking at the fan, why is it not working? Then they'll move, then it starts spinning. And we also use energy saving lights. So for instance, daytime, we only turn on the back part of the shop, the lights for the back parts, but the front dah terang. So we save energy that way. And then we also use very minimal electricity in terms of by using timers. So there are some big exhausts at the back that we only turn on during the day. Nighttime, when there's less people, it's actually off. So in all this sense, we are doing things to make sure it is more environmental friendly. Yeah.
That's in terms of sustainability. With we want to maintain high sustainability standards, but at the same time to reduce carbon emissions across all outlets. We want to look at moving forward. We want to look at we have automations and technological advancements right now, especially AI. How are you going to adapt with the fast pace of these technological advancements? Perhaps if you want to stay ahead or compete with other laundry brands. So how do you stay ahead with all these automations? So what are you going to bring into Dobi Queen?
Actually, currently we have, and how I view AI and technology, it's actually extra help for us to understand our consumers better and make it more convenient for them. So let me tell you how it works. One of it is we actually have the Dobi Queen app. So for those of you who have the Dobi Queen app, you know you now don't need to exchange your cash or risk having your cash stuck inside there. Sometimes hujan, right, basah, then you can stuck inside there. Or the tokens will be stuck in the machine. So you can start the machine using the app. And then that's number one. The other one is, the other one would be we are investing and exploring into using face recognition CCTV. Yeah, so that we would then understand consumers better. We would know whether they're happy or they went out. They came in happy, they went out not so happy. So these are the things that help us understand consumers better and therefore serve them better. Yeah.
But so far, you started along late 2015, around that, right? 2015, 2016. But so far, almost reaching 10 years until 2024. What kind of challenges that you faced, not just as an entrepreneur, but in the laundry industry itself? What kind of challenges that you face, and what are the right mitigation steps that you took to overcome these challenges?
I would say challenges is in every business and in every industry. So putting MCO time aside, which was highly challenging, I would say our constant challenge is, so in every Dobi Queen outlet, there's one outlet supervisor to help with moving the clothes and then putting back into the bag. So we have challenge when it comes to growing the team, investing in the right people, and then supporting them in their growth in leadership. So that is one of the challenges. Yeah, that's one of the main challenges actually.
But were there any difference before and after COVID? Actually, before COVID were better, I'm assuming. How was the response like?
Okay, even before MCO, we already had one person in every outlet. So that is one of the help actually during MCO, because MKN required us to put one person in every outlet. So I would say before MCO, the app adoption using e-payment was very low or much lower. So after MCO, the habit changed a bit more. QR is more common now than pre-MCO. So that is one of the adaptation. And because we do more promotions on the app as well, that makes it more affordable for the consumer. So they also are more willing to wash a bit more. And I would say during MCO time, there was more interest in our helper, our supervisor, helping them with sorting out the clothes, putting into the washer, taking it out, and then taking out from the dryer. So now they have become more used to it. Nah, bagi, dah, siap. Then they will just text them the QR code, then customers will pay, and then they just move it in. So it's more of, I would say customers embrace our extra services more after MCO.
That's amazing to know, because people thought that laundry is not one of those affected during MCO, because people still need to wash clothes, dry clothes, right? But it's important to take important to note that security, when it comes to safety and security, because you mentioned earlier the most gender that used these services is women.
Yes.
Instead of men. So how do you ensure their safety, especially when they come alone? So and there are some cases that happen to this gender, kecurian, maybe attacked. So how do you ensure this kind of security and safety towards this gender?
So in the past, I would say, actually all along, when it comes to outlet selection, our most preferred would be around 24 hours food shops or 24 hours convenience stores like the popular ones, so that it's more bright. So we also make sure that the outlet is very bright, the kaki lima is bright, and it has good visibility. So that is part of how we make sure, and there's also CCTV going on the whole time, and that is how we we strive to create a safer environment for our users. 75% of our customers are ladies, that's right. And we also, with more app adoption right now, the pencuri also know that there's not much cash actually inside the token machine. We also tell them that we don't keep cash inside there. So therefore, right now, I would say, touch wood, it's pretty okay. Then again, I would still give the ladies a reminder. If you're coming at 4 o'clock in the morning, okay, sit towards the front of the shop. Don't sit at the back and then just look at the phone with no awareness of someone coming in. Then even anywhere, it will be dangerous. So just sit in front of the shop, pay attention, look around, see who is coming, quickly move to the next door, restaurant, if you feel that there's someone coming in that you don't feel safe. Yeah, so take precaution, and we on our side, we also make sure our environment is the safest that we can provide.
But do you have any emergency bell or anything installed in the store?
Actually, we installed before. What happened was we were pranked.
Oh, that happened?
Yeah.
How many times?
A couple of times, and authorities don't really like that. The children go there and tekan as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were removed?
Yeah, we disengaged that. But usually we are really next to the convenience shop. Yeah. So as long as you just pay more attention, it's actually quite safe.
And as of now, I read here that you have about 80 plus outlets.
Yeah.
After about almost 10 years of operating. So moving forward, your aspirations, how do you plan, or how much do you plan to introduce new outlets in a year?
Yeah, our plan will be 20 a year, going further and further out, because in order to serve a larger circle, we will have to go nearer to them. No one from Sedang will come to, say, Sri Gombak to do laundry, unless they have family staying there. So the plan will actually be going further, and we will also find a way to pick up more reachable to consumers who they have young children at home. It's not convenient to go out, or their timetable is so busy they don't feel like going out. So we reach out to more and more customers that way.
Well, what about your resilience plans to compete with other competitors? So how do you stay ahead in terms of business strategy? As an entrepreneur, we believe you have long-term goals. So what are those that you can share to us?
So I would say for that, one of our value would be long-term sustainability, and we are very much about innovation and enabling our team to create more solutions that makes laundry even more convenient. So let me give you an example. Most laundries don't have anyone in the outlet. We put one person there to increase the convenience so much that consumers just need to drop off, they do their things, then come back and pick it up. That's right. And so on top of that, right now we also notice that there are some mothers who come with very young children. So one hand is handbag, one hand is laundry bag, another hand is the kit. So how do we make it easier is we now allow customers to just stop at the shop, press the horn, then we will come out and get it. So that one is still at its infant stage, but that is what we want to achieve. So the mother don't even need to get down. She just need to park there, then we'll come out and get it. So these are some of the innovation, small innovation that we do. The 6-hour pickup is also one of it. So we go to someone's house, they make the order online, we go there, pick it up, and in 6 hours time, we'll return the clothes all clean, nicely folded. So these are the things that we continue to close the gap and make our quality even better in terms of service.
But actually, this may sound small, as if the pickup services may sound small to others, but actually gives a lot of impact, especially towards a working mom that has no time to deal with all this.
Especially when they're very young children.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 year old, still crawling. Yeah.
And babies as well.
Yes, yes.
Maybe to have a little statistics on men doing household chores on the KRI research earlier?
That one, it just shows that ladies spend 65% more time. We didn't look into the men's one yet, but this is really very significant because when the ladies who work and spend that much more time, it means that they are much more tired. Yeah.
Okay, I think we covered a lot of things in this laundry industry topic alone. We covered about employment, we covered about sustainability, and we took a little bit on how household chores works and how it can give impacts and reduce the burden of moms and working moms, the household chores and everything.
Actually, so we also noticed that sometimes we will see some fathers or husbands bringing laundry, and we ask them, how do you know about us? Oh, my wife told me, just bawa baju pergi sana, okay, siap. So that is how a lot of our male customers are helping out because they say berat kan, so they carry two. So that's how they are participating in it without really doing it. So,
And that makes me want to ask maybe on your marketing strategy. I think laundry uses mouth-to-mouth marketing works best. So what's your marketing strategy? Maybe now and plans for the future's marketing strategy?
So word of mouth is definitely the strongest, you're right. And the other one is we do give out periodic trials to customers who haven't tried yet, so that they can really experience the whole package. So that is one of them. And we will be doing more digital marketing related along the lines to still let the customers try. Yeah, because by just telling, they don't really rasa how easy it becomes.
Okay, that's a little bit insights on the future or perhaps the current situation of laundry industry ecosystem, and that was Nini Tan, the co-founder and executive director of Dobi Queen. Thank you so much again for taking the time to speak with me this morning. And you can find the whole discussion on all of our social media platforms, and that includes Astro, AWANI.com. See you next time.
Terdapat sedikit kebimbangan berkaitan dengan peningkatan kos sara hidup dan juga bagaimana untuk orang ramai mengimbangi peningkatan kos itu dengan pembelanjaan hari raya nanti. Sepanjang bulan Ramadan nanti, cuaca dijangka panas kering sepanjang 30 hari berkenaan.
Peniaga makanan di Bazar Ramadan dinasihatkan supaya jujur dalam menyediakan makanan, terutamanya dari sudut kualiti dan penjagaan makanan.
Yang anda nantikan. 100% bersedia demi kejayaan. Wira akan bangkit. Sejarah bakal tercipta. Marilah menuju kegemilangan bersama kami. UEFA Euro 2024. Kesemua 51 perlawanan secara langsung di Sport TV dengan Astro. Astro membawakan detik indah melaksanakan rukun Islam kelima.
Saat yang tidak boleh diceritakan dengan perkataan.
Ibadah haji, anugerah terindah.
Ilmu, iman, inspirasi.
Istimewa Aidil Adha.
Hayati erti pengorbanan.
Berkorban demi keluarga.
Berbuat baiklah kepada kedua ibu bapamu.
Semoga amalan anda membawa anda semua ke syurga.
Makcik salah orang ni.
Cik Rizal tak pernah jumpa dengan ibu bapa Cik Rizal dulu. Bawalah dia balik.
Berbakti sesama insan. Masa anugerah terindah. Salam Aidil Adha.
In the evolving landscape of technology and finance, venture capital firms are increasingly prioritizing ethical and sustainable investment. Ficus Capital, the world's first ESG Islamic venture capital, exemplified this by combining ESG criteria with Sharia-compliant ESGI in their investment. And in partnership with INSAF University, they have developed an ESGI framework to guide MSMEs towards sustainability and innovation. And to help us explore further strategy of fostering industry innovation while maintaining high ethical standards. Ready on the line is with us Arina Neo, the co-founder and co-managing partner of Ficus Capital. I want to say thank you very much, Rina, for joining me. Maybe firstly, you can share with us, how does ESGI investing Ficus Capital differ from ESG investing and Sharia investing on its own? And why did Ficus adopt ESG as a venture capital strategy?
Thank you for having me, Nina. Well, I guess, Sharia investing or Islamic finance has been around for a long time, and the same as venture capital as well. The reason why Ficus, have actually adopted this theme, as in all venture capital, when you start a VC fund, you need to basically say what areas, what categories, and what industry you want to invest in. Ficus, when we first started, we call ourselves a Sharia compliant Ficus fund. That's because my partners, they were in the Islamic finance before, and there is really a gap. I mean, there are approximately 1.8 billion Muslims globally, representing a quarter of people on earth. But despite these numbers, I think there's been underserved by the asset management industry with very limited innovation in product offerings and low growth in assets. And, while this is the core strength of my partners, my experience is in venture capital, is in investings. And when we come together, we do see that ESG, and Sharia, there is really an overlap. Of course, both have got, frameworks, and both have got their principles, but the sectors that they prefer, or they allow to be invested in, there's a cross. Right, but one of the consequences is that many sectors which are excluded, under the Sharia law, also score poorly on sustainability criteria. So, like Sharia investing, where application of Sharia principles is open to interpretation by the scholars, there is also ambiguity in the application of sustainable or responsible investing. So, these two differences, while there are vast differences, there are also similarity, and both approach, is basically focusing on people, planet, and profit, but ethical profit. Yeah, so that's the reason why we see a gap in this space. And for me personally, I think most of the startups did not make it. Mostly technology startup, not because they harm the environment so much, but mostly lack of governance. That is one of the reasons why most of the startups did not make it.
And we want to see, how do startups funded by the Ficus Capital that are ESGI compliant benefit from this?
Of course, we do this because we want to prepare our investee portfolio to actually raise more money or to go to a bigger market where if we're all aware that most of the PE firms, or if they want to perhaps exit, they have to be acquired by bigger firms, or they can actually go IPO. And as we all know, most of the exchange have mandated that companies that is going to be IPO have to be compliant, although most of the time it's voluntary now, but we believe that it is going to be, a law soon. So in FICUS, there is a process how we evaluate startups. Most of the startups that we invest in are technology startups. So by default, all companies are Sharia compliant until it is proven it's not. However, in the assessment, we do actually have an extra step in our due diligence that we have our own framework. The framework that we co-develop with INSIF universities, that we check on criteria that is, beyond the usual VC due diligence. Most of the time, VC due diligence is on financials and on IP, technicals, and of course, legal. But there are certain things that we FICUS look for beyond these usual investment criteria. And of course, there are two distinct things. Of course, we don't invest in all the haram industries. But for example, like in tech industries, gaming or esports, the gray area. When we come across such, challenge, we see that esports is a growing market, but there is some sort of element of betting, which is, not in compliance with Sharia law. What we do is in FICUS, we have a Sharia committee or Sharia advisor. We actually go back to the advisor and asked, to seek counsel with them and to see how we can actually, come up with a solution. The other thing is that in embracing Sharia investment, the investor, in this case FICUS, takes equal risk with the founder or the founding team. So, without going into much details, our term sheets are actually more fair to the founders. We've heard that, VCs, have actually imposed, very, not that friendly terms into founders. But we do say in all, in a summary, I could share that if there is upside, we take equal shares, but if there is downside, the investors also have to take the equal risk. That is the part that I really liked as well, because we are in these, for a long term. It's not that the VC is there just to make a profit. We have to take equal risk as well.
And Rina, maybe you could share with examples of startups that have successfully aligned with ESGI principles, and what are the impact that they have had on the market and even the whole ecosystem?
Well, I guess this is something new in the industry. In fact, there are talks, within the Malaysia government years ago to have a Sharia compliant fund. But to be very frank, the ESGI framework is really just being coined. However, all our investee companies that FICUS have invested in have actually gone through this process. I wouldn't say that they have achieved major milestones of success. But what we have done is, this is an internal process that we want to make sure that they are actually compliant, even at the very early stage, because we're preparing them for the next growth stage, where they will be pitching to bigger funds or even like PE companies, or they potentially may be acquired by a big companies that requires all this. So being compliant, it gives the founder a lot more insights besides what they're measuring. Like all startups, they're measuring on growth and all this, but these little things that ESG framework requires the companies to measure is something sometimes intangible. For example, the social part of it. Growing a company is sometimes difficult because you depend on people. So most people said that startups are too busy, for survival. They don't to actually comply to any rules and regulations. We understood that, but we believe that if we give them this kind of awareness, and make it a habit in their reporting, when they really need to disclose, they will be ready. And I think some examples that I could share perhaps in other bigger companies is that they have got better valuation when they were acquired by PE funds, or they were given a better valuation simply because they are ESG compliant, and the acquirer or the investor is assured that this company is sustainable. It's not just a fad, high growth, and then they just suddenly disappeared. So what I can assure you is that all the companies that Ficus have invested in, Aclimo, Simplify, Assembler, and a few more that we hope to announce, they have all gone through these stages of ESGI assessment before we invest, and also during the process of investment, the term sheets and even post-investment, which is very important, consists of these monitoring frameworks as well. So one of the company that is not in our investment, but is a Muslim company, Muslim Pro, for example. I think they're in the Islamic Sharia space, compliant startup. They have recently raised, I think, $20 million US. I think LPs or limited partners or institutional investors, they are actually looking at this space very aggressively. There are also VCs like us, bigger VCs, East Ventures. They have, actually come up with their own suggestions to their portfolio companies. Even VCs have to, produce our own sustainability report as well. So I think, for Ficus, we are, taking the first step to do it. If you ask us, as a fund manager, do we have to do it? Actually, not really, but we prefer to do it so that everybody has a upper hand when we really need to comply.
When you mentioned that you guys prefer to do it, what are the challenges and opportunities that a capital firm has encountered in investing within the tech startup that meet ESGI criteria, and how has all of the problem challenges has been addressed?
Okay, there are of course many challenges. One of the challenge that we face as an investor is always data, and we all know that ESG, one of the challenges really when you disclose, you're disclosing data. There might be vast data, but how do we know which data is actually material to you? So I think limited availability of data or comprehensive data, ESG data or Sharia data is actually one of the challenges for not just VC fund, but for everybody else. And then I think the varying interpretation of ESG and Sharia guidelines. Of course, Sharia guidelines are also interpreted by scholars. And we know that ESG standards and frameworks are evolving every day, faster than we change clothes. That leads to, inconsistencies in screening and evaluation. So I think that leads us to say, okay, since we are all faced with all these uncertainties and ESG jargons, why don't we actually help these companies, especially the micro SMEs, that leads to our collaboration with INSIF University. So if you have had a chance to look at the INSIF framework, they have actually come up with a very clear framework that is applicable to micro SMEs. There are many ESG frameworks. MITI has one, SME Corp, the Lestari, but they lack the Sharia component. And of course, I think the international ones maybe is not applicable for local SMEs. So opportunities, of course, there are vast opportunities. It is a growing trend, and we feel that if we are prepared, we will have an upper hand in when we have to compete. For example, if a startup A can produce a sustainability report or ESGI report and can consistently show the potential investors they're doing the right things right, I think these companies would have a better chance in attracting money compared to someone who just can show the default or the usual financial, legal. So we see that this is the way we want to nurture our companies. Ficus is not a big fund, so we feel that if you're not a big fund with a lot of money to throw, you really have to do what you have to do, which is to really nurture your portfolios so that they can be vastly different from the others.
And what are the future trends that you anticipate in the integration of ESG and Sharia principle in venture capital investment? And what are your plans to adapt all of these trends?
I think we anticipate a continued rise in the integration of ESG and Sharia principles. We have actually seen it from the banks, investment outlook as well. I think this is also driven by the increasing global awareness of sustainability. Bursa has mandated listed companies to disclose, and of course, a growing Muslim population, and even family offices, institutional investors, they are all seeking ethical investment opportunities. I think this trend is likely to stay, and we have seen there's so many green finance products have been launched, but I think there is maybe a little bit lesser options for startups or VCs. Micro SMEs actually has is actually a core of Malaysia's economy, especially those who are exporting. I think they have no choice but to comply with the regulations in EU or in overseas. So it is important, especially when scope 3 of the ESG compliance has been mandated. A lot of these small companies will have to comply, and technically I think they do not have an idea how to comply or how to start. Resources and expertise is always a challenge. So Ficus, as a small VC fund, we do not have the capability to do everything. That is why one of the strategy is to partner with the knowledge and experts, for example, like INSIFT for the Sharia part. And I think we're very thankful to the ISRA for actually working with us to come up with a framework. And hopefully this framework sets a stage, as a starting point. They will, I was made known that there will be a portal that's going to be launched. So any of the micro SMEs can now access the ESGI assessment, and you will be given a report and where you stand. To me, I think the assessment framework is basically just like you going to a GP, taking a health check, of your own health. In this case, your company's health, not just financially, but overall, a more holistic, where you stand right now and what is material to you or material to your stakeholders, so you know where to go. It's like you're not doing so good in your social part because all your employees are not happy, so therefore you know where to improve, right? I think if you do not measure things that is important to you, you will never be able to improve. So we are definitely giving a lot of attention in this space as part of our investment process.
Definitely, this is a very interesting session. I want to say thank you very much to Rina Neil, the co-founder and co-managing partner of Ficus Capital, for helping us understand the future of ethical investing and how their model sets a new benchmark for sustainable and even a responsible innovation. Definitely, I want to say thank you very much. And all of our discussion here will be featured in astroawani.com and across all social media platforms.
Gempur di Awani 7.45.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ramai lah.
Musim baharu makin meriah bersama influencer jemputan.
Macam mana doktor cek telinga tak masukkan benda ni?
Alamak. Jana terbang-terbang, sangkut kat pokok. Lela terbang-terbang, sangkut kat hati.
Dengan gelagat cameo yang menjadi-jadi.
Kalau naik kereta bahaya tau, Wak.
Apa dot high beam aja.
ILU.
Sepatu Reunion Live di Astro Warna dan Astro Go.
All right, Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation (MDEC) and Datal Asia Group have launched the My Data Hub AI platform to help small and medium enterprises (SMEs) gain access to 150 million ringgit in financing. My Data Hub AI connects businesses and partners on the platform. In addition to access to financing options, the platform also allows the exchange of data and strategies, encouraging SMEs to adopt digitalization and artificial intelligence AI strategies. And to discuss further on this journey, we have ready with us in the studio is Ashran Ghazi, the Chief Executive Officer of Datal Asia. I want to say thank you very much, Ashran, for joining me. Firstly, we want to talk about this My Data Hub AI. Can you briefly explain what the platform is and what are the primary service it offers? And what is also the key problems that this platform trying to solve for the SMEs in Malaysia?
That's quite a bit there, but thank you for having me here. First and foremost, what MyDataHub.ai is for the SMEs, it is actually a platform for SMEs to manage, control, and share the data, right? And the favorite question that I get from people with regards to this is, who owns the data? Is it secure? Is it not secure? Because the word data itself, invokes that emotions initially. So as per the framing, it is for the business owners themselves, the SMEs themselves, to actually manage, control, and share. If they don't want to share, then they don't. The data is theirs, essentially, right? What Data Hub, My Data Hub is, essentially, is just a platform to help facilitate SMEs to do exchange of data so that they can get something in return, right? So in terms of your other question just now, what kind of services that we kind of put on board. So when we kind of looked at what kind of thing would actually encourage people to share and exchange data, there must be something that get in return, like I said, right? So for an SME business owner, while there are many things that are important, two things that is most important to any SME if you talk to, right? I want to get financing in order for me to be able to grow my business and do whatever I need to do. Number two, of course, I want to grow my sale, right? So that's the only two things that usually comes into the mind of any business owner, especially SMEs, right? And that's what we're introducing as the key services within the Data Hub itself. And well, just now you highlighted about the ability of financing, right? And let's kind of narrow down the focus with regards to that. The challenges with regards to financing, it's a subject that is continuously discussed, right? Whether it is not enough to financing, then some other groups will say, oh, but the money is there. But the challenge for SMEs in the landscape of financing, if you ask me, is about accessibility. Can I really get the money or not?
That's the main question.
That's the fundamental of it all, right? Nice to have, big pockets of money here and there that is dangled to the SMEs in terms of what they can potentially get, right? But, what is that process of getting that at the end of the day? And what Data Hub looks at facilitating is we've brought in financing partners, right? 4 financing partners in particular that covers different aspects of financing needs. And you know, their core at heart is also in the spirit of supporting smaller businesses and also growth companies. Yeah? And we've discussed with regards to streamlining processes to make sure that it is easy enough also for any SMEs to need. Of course, you cannot run away from the usual documentations, right? But it is easy enough for them to get onboarded across. And when one of the value add, because we also, when we launched this last week, we had a lot of questions from business owners. So why should we go via Data Hub as opposed to going to the different partners that we had directly? The simple short answer is two. Number one, via Data Hub, whatever information or documents or data that you are sharing to a financier, you do it once. Right? You do it once because it's all within Data Hub itself. And then that gets disseminated. If you're trying to apply to all the 4 financiers, then it gets disseminated to all the 4 financiers. Then if there's anything extra, then they will then come back to you. But at least your first baseline, right, it's a single set of documentations. Otherwise, you will go to one platform, upload whatever that needs to be done, then you go to another platform, upload what needs to be done. So within Data Hub itself, we kind of make the process of data sharing simple enough, right? So that you can get financing with the highest, best possible chance at the end of the day, right?
And definitely you want to see how my Data Hub EI facilitate data integration from various sources of businesses.
Correct. And that's a good point, right? And having dealt with SMEs for quite a number of years right now, it's actually not about the technology itself, right? When I say not about the technology, is you can have the tech to do this, but do you have a way to make sure that it is easy enough for an SME to actually move through that journey, right? And to be frank with you, the ability, so we've got a partner called Easy Store, one of the digital platform partners. So a business owner who has their own branded store on Easy Store, for instance, can easily share whatever data that they have within their storefront for financing or for marketing even, right? And the thing is, without Data Hub, not that they cannot share, but it requires additional technical knowledge on the SME front in order to make that sharing process easy, right? So what we've put thoughts and into the design of Data Hub itself, how do you make it no-brainer at all? Right? No-brainer at all. So literally, if you were to go and sign up and log into My Data Hub, your first starting point is connect to an existing platform that has your data, right? So if it is Easy Store, for instance, and all you have to do is click Easy Store, it will come up with your login page into Easy Store, log in, it gets connected, that's it.
Okay, wow, that's really already a guideline, complete guideline,
yes, so
easy guideline.
So, and then to me, that's very important, right? Because if it is anything slightly even more complicated than that, it will make the process and the journey of an SME a little bit more challenging, more reluctant in terms of even trying to explore that particular path, essentially. So in the many years that we've been dealing with SMEs in particular, you can have the best tech, right? But if your best tech is not designed to capture the psyche of the SMEs, right, you will not capture the SMEs, right? If you do not understand the nuances and the need of the SMEs, while conceptually the idea may be good, it will not be able to go anywhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
True. There's a whole lot of aspects that we need to have a look at.
Correct.
And maybe we know that you just share with us the primary service that it offers and how can it helps the SMEs towards innovation and sustainability. And talking about your data analytics and visualization tools, how can it stand out from other markets' solution currently?
Well, with regards to Data Hub and Journey itself, right, and the reason why there's a framing of AI within Data Hub, when you talk about AI, at the end of the day, data is the raw ingredient of AI. You cannot run away from it, right? And if you were to do any large-scale modeling of things, like what you see in the market right now, you need huge amounts of data. Now, where does that leave SMEs, right? And then we had a chat earlier on with regards to, you can go to ChatGPT and ask questions to it, but while it sounds smart, the way it responds and stuff, but the facts that comes out of it is not necessarily accurate.
Correct.
Right? So the framework within the AI space itself requires the LLM models that you see in ChatGPT, right? And then you require the domain knowledge or the data layer on top. So what we're trying to address with Data Hub essentially is if you ask SMEs to kind of value add with regards to data, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be overwhelming for them to try to even think about it.
Correct.
Right? But if you tell them, hey, you know what? You are on TikTok, you are on Shopee, you are having your own storefront, you are on, you got a POS system also here, and you've got your accounting system also on the other end. String all this data, that's all these platforms together into Data Hub, right? And future services that we're looking at introducing is simplify AI capabilities that leverages on their data.
This is to ease operational business, definitely.
Everything, right? From operations of business to the marketing side of things, whatever that may be, essentially. And it is important for SMEs to appreciate that in order for them to also be at par with what the market is moving ahead with, right? You don't want the SMEs to be lagging behind, right? And just be pure users and not being able to leverage their data. Whereas all the other upper size companies are probably leveraging their data to do stuff. You don't want Malaysia in particular, at least, to be in a situation where the people that has the means, knowledge and money is able to advance, but the SMEs who may not have full sets of knowledge, full sets of resources, whether it's capital or talent, gets lagged behind. Then the country, it gets always in a catch-up mode, right? Oh, we've got to do something. Then government pula needs to actually kind of plow in more money in order to actually, then that becomes counterproductive with regards to trying to improve productivity even with AI, right?
And the SMEs is the group, even though they're a small, medium enterprise, but they're one of the group that we need huge amount of convincing to adapt, to change.
Yes.
Definitely in digital.
And like we spoke earlier also, right, with SMEs, and that's why the collaboration with MDEC is very meaningful in terms of doing this itself, right? Naturally, MDEC's trying to push for digitalization and so forth with regards to things. The data agenda is there, the AI agenda is there. But what we've got to also be cognizant is that start with what matters close to heart to the SMEs first, especially when you talk about digitalization. And like we said, there's only two things, help me make more money, right? Help me get money so that I can make more money.
Correct.
Right? I don't think any SMEs out there will disagree with regards to that.
True.
Once I am in a comfortable position, then I can be in a better state of mind to be able to explore other technologies and so forth with regards to things.
And Ashra, we know definitely it will be much easier to convince big companies of adapting and transitioning to a traditional and a modern approach, more innovative approach. So for the MSVs that want to adapt digitalization, AI, maybe they will ask for this service. Okay, this is something service for ease of business, marketing, but what do I get? In the simplest word, they want to see, like you said, return of investment.
Yeah.
Is it an increase of sale within 1 year, or maybe a more specific, what kind of, how impact this SME will get with the utilization of this platform?
At the end of the day, it's how they would use it per se, right? But statistically, anyone who has, let me give an answer to that from an example perspective, right? So a merchant that is on Easy Store shares data, and we can analyze basically their 10,000 customers from your historical transactions, right? Just by virtue of that, we can tell the merchant or the business owner how many % are loyal customers, how many % are losing customers. And we can break those into 11 segments. And what's the value of that to the SME? Right now, SME, kalau buat promotion, right, 50% off, they'll blast to all the 10,000 people.
Correct.
Right? But now, you know the X percentage that is loyal customers, you give them better discounts.
All right. More specific.
Yes,
towards
more
targeted.
specific. So you break it down,
Okay.
right? Why are you giving them more discounts? Because they will come to you regardless whether there's a huge discount or a not so huge discount or no discount at all.
Correct.
They will still buy. But the losing customers, they will only buy from you when there's a discount.
Big promotion.
Otherwise, they'll go somewhere else and look out. So while an SME owner may think that they've got sales achieved at that window, but their net effect with regards to their margins and so forth is actually higher ROI with the loyal guys than with the losing customers, even though they feel that the sales was achieved.
Okay.
Right? So that's an example of and that exercise usually can yield to easily about 20-30% upside to the merchants itself, right? Because they are actually maximizing here and not losing out from the losing customer punya segment.
All right, and with the sharing of data, the significance of this help the SMEs, small business owner, to niche the target audience to identify which is more valuable, not only to their customer but also to their companies. And what role do your financing partners play, and how does the 150 million ringgit in funding get distributed for SME? Because we know we want to check on your marketing partners such as major social media as Meta, TikTok, can help enhance the marketing capabilities of SMEs on this platform.
So there's two parts here, right? So regards to the financing partners have been in the financing business, right? They've got different models. And just to highlight a little bit, two of the parties, Choco Up and Gen5, works in the model of revenue-based financing. What revenue-based financing means in the most simplest manner is that they will look at your historical revenue of the last 6 months, kind of make an assessment on the amount should be given to the business owner. There's a fixed fee that is actually put across. And then the repayment back is actually taking 10% of future sales.
Okay, wow.
Right? So that's a different dynamics in terms of how your typical loan exercise or such a financing exercise work with regards to that. So the 150 million that we're talking about is actually coming from all the 4 financing partners that we have. They share the same passion we have with regards to trying to solve the problem with the SMEs. And they've all pledged collectively 150 million ringgit to be able to give to the SMEs financing, right? And the other day, we had some people asking us, so Ashran, what happens if, so 2 questions that follows through that, right? What happens if the 150 million finishes?
Yes,
right?
That's also big next questions.
Right. My simple answer is this, right? All our partners are business-oriented, right? Yes, we're trying to serve a particular community, but we're business-oriented. There is no way that I can imagine that any of the business partners, as the traction of loan or the utilization of loan financing goes up, that they will not add in more capital in order to be able to give more financing. Okay. Because they're all business entities, right? And that's the unique part where when we wanted to work with MDEC with regards to this, right? MDEC takes an overarching view of things, trying to look at addressing policies, trying to bring in specific communities on board. The capital does not rely on government. The capital comes from the private sector. But that also means, right, the scalability with regards to the funds is not limited to just the national budget cycles. As long as the cycle of paying back is good, as long as it makes business sense. And to be frank with you, after we launched last week, I've got 3 or 4 other financing partners that has approached us to say, can we be part of My Data Hub or not? Right? So that's an encouraging signal, essentially. So 2 things. It can increase, the 150 million can easily increase from the existing partners, or we've got a pipeline of partners that we are now evaluating to get on board also My Data Hub.
There's always a long-term planning that we have to look ahead.
Yes.
And probably I want to see how do you foresee for MSMEs, SMEs in adapting and transitioning the utilize of this My Data Hub AI?
Let's put it this way, right? If we just narrow down to financing, you and I have taken loans in one way or another before for house, personal, or cars, that may be, right? Whatever the banks ask you, you would just naturally furnish them.
Correct.
So the first wave of SMEs that we're looking at is solving the pain point of, I've been trying to get financing, but I cannot get. Right? If you cannot get, not to say that we guarantee that everyone will get, there's still that process and evaluation and risk management that needs to be done via the partners, right? But when it involves money, if you ask me, SMEs will do whatever it takes for me to get money, right? So whether to get money from sale or whether to get money in terms of financing, they will do whatever. So they can belajar whatever it is that is required to do that, or they will get somebody to help them get that sorted, right? So at the end of the day, it's the net effect, right? Are they going to be able to get accessibility to those funds or not, right? And working with the partners, of course, they want as much funds as possible to disburse because that's their business operating model, essentially. We want to be able to have network partners around as much as possible. We also want to make sure that there are more digital platforms. I mentioned Easy Store just now. So Shopify is online, TikTok Shop, anything that holds data of the SME, right, ought to be connected so that it makes it a lot easier for any SMEs to be able to apply financing here.
All right, Ashran, as the CEO of Data Asia, looking ahead, moving forward, what is the future plan for this platform, My Data Hub AI, and what kind of initiative in terms of features and even expansion?
Okay, I want to share from the lens of an aspiration that I have even personally with regards to Data Hub, right? For the longest of time, the country has been trying to solve financing, especially for the micro, small guys, the guys that may not have financial records. And when they don't have financial records, to get additional capital from various types of institutions becomes a problem, right? And, while the simple answer is, go and train them, lah, right? But I've also been in the system where that conversation has been going on for the longest of time. So my personal aspiration is that down the road, if a makcik that's selling goreng pisang on the streets is using digital means of payment, and that can become the point of reference in terms of how the sales is going, even without the makcik having a financial statement itself, she can get financing. That's the goal, essentially, right? That makes it so simple that as long as the makcik jual goreng pisang is telling people, please bayar melalui digital means, like QR or whatever it is, so that it gets automatically recorded somewhere, and then she can use that for financing purposes, that would be the dream. Because I know for a fact that it's been an attempt that has been tried so many times, but it has not moved the needle, essentially. So that's a different way of answering to your question just now, but that's the aspiration, at least on the financing aspect.
Definitely, we already have My Data Hub AI, and there's a lot more we have to do, definitely,
to
help and guide the SMEs, MSMEs to drive innovation and even sustainability, especially in the financing. And definitely, I want to say all of our discussion here will be featured in astrawani.com and across all social media platforms. And again, I want to say thank you very much to our guest, Ashran Ghazi, the Chief Executive Officer of Data Asia. And definitely, we will have our conversation continue till next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And that is for our sharing. Till next time.